Chapter 1. Burning Blood. Smoke and waves of heat curled toward the sky. Lines of fire described a crash site like an architectural landscape. Disastrous. I lay in the hot pavement, half melted with my flesh and blood dripping down my brow, just caressing over my eye, creating a shiny red liquid pool beneath me where I lay, resembling a deep red mercury. Sirens are alarming in the far distance, enough to hear over the ringing of my ears. As I come to, the sound of roaring flames devour my senses, and I cringe to remember how I got into this mess. I don't remember a damn thing. I brace to identify my surroundings. A plane's wreckage is off to the east side of me, a forest with a bounty of green to the west. The body of the plane starts flexing and bending from the heat of the jet fuel, torching it from the inside out. I need to move. I struggle to my feet, falling back down the first time. The wreckage creaks and bends for the last time. I limp and hold my arm to hide behind the closest thing I can find. I leave the roadway and run towards the woods. As soon as I take a strong breath in, an intense pain shoots up and down my back, and the plane explodes, throwing shrapnel and flames outward in every direction. The hot fire sends me rolling into trees and rocks until I find myself submerged in water. It's there that I lay and remain until nightfall. Fear not the wicked, as the fear becomes the truth. Bloody calligraphy drips from the building side, reflecting in the water, showing a rippled message from the moonlight. The calm waters are interrupted by creatures hoarding and marching into the waters, unknowingly drowning themselves and becoming submerged over their heads, gurgling and spitting while air bubbles rise among the surface. The letters in the reflection disappear with the disturbance of the waters. They smell the flesh down the river. The illumination and the explosion from the plane let them know exactly where to go. Sirens alarm, but no response. Black carbon staggering high, while bits of ash fall softly to the ground. Objects ruffle from the wreckage inside the cabin where the pilot den is located. A few weak pushes and out crawls a dark figure weighing itself on the cabin chair, while in a slow struggle to escape the cabin. Bloodied with glass shedding from his forehead, another appears behind. The first finds his footing on the dole of the glass and uses it as footing to throw himself out on top of the nose of the plane, laying there for a short moment. The glass shard creaks and then crunches, piercing straight into the second silhouette, expelling blood like a slimy buckshot. The silhouette disappears to the floor. They both now begin to crawl toward ground level to reach the bloodied pavement, clawing and scratching, tearing up their fingers to the bone, digging for the flesh I left behind. The other, with the glass wound, licks and bites at the road in a poor attempt to feed. The creek is flowing, sparkling even under the thick canopy of the trees created by the weaving in and out from each other. Subtle moonlight penetrates through the foliage, striking the water's edge. Quiet. Everywhere is silent, all but the harrowing sirens and the natural sounds of the creek and the winds. Light paws crunch leaves into the mud near the creek. A creature is approaching cautiously. Teeth extend with cascading white and gray hairs, long and bloody. The creature grabs hold of me, digging its claws within to find grip. My body lay upside down, blue and cold. The creature grabs the back of my brown linen jacket and pulls, flipping me onto my back. It overtakes me, its front paws on my chest. It leans down, tilting its bloody teeth flat over my heart, and listens. It licks my face and howls a wicked howl with its head high. The sound echoes with the sirens. Blood and water spit out of my lungs forcefully, wake me up from my dark. I look to see a long-haired wolf towering over me. Red drips from his fangs onto my face. The color smears from my chest to my face. My hand reaches for the closest thing, and the next thing that happens was my worst mistake. A stone cracks into its eye and jawline, sending it whimpering in the opposite of me. I retreat backward, and doused myself into the creek, but not before swallowing a mouth of water. A few moments pass before I resurface. I emerge from a liquid death, gasping for air, pulling my head out into the atmosphere. Dense, foggy air fills my lungs like small jagged needles burning, and then feeling relief. I spit up the rest of the liquid that I can and try to move onto my feet. I grab for a knife at my boot and charge the wolf. A metal glint sounds from the sheath, rubbing against the blade, and reflects the glaze of moonlight with its motion. I run at the wolf as it cowers down to me, anticipating the inevitable, and just as I reach the distance, I realize its cowardly show of dominance to my presence. I can't stop myself from executing the blow. Something in me is telling me to kill. On the other hand, I feel a pity for the creature. A link, somehow. Another explosion from behind me. I turn my attention quickly towards the noise. The wolf remains coward. Lights grow and start igniting the forest. The silhouette becomes clear. A ravaged man of death stumbles on fire, searing his flesh and his cries of sorrows are the latest besides the ringing sensation from the blast. His face is melting, missing attributes of humanity. The fire eats up the pine trees to fuel its desire to destroy, spreading its offspring like a whore. More appear from the flames, chasing after our direction. We have no choice but to move. I turn back to the wolf, and his eyes stare a crystal stare of obedience. I hesitate, and then I move. The wolf follows away from the flames. I remember thinking for a split second, I need to help these people. They are literally melting in front of me. Nothing but flesh, bones, and boiling blood. But they don't scream like me. They don't stop. They just keep coming. Something wasn't right. I stare past the fire and glance down at my knife hesitantly. The wolf disappeared. I look back up to the gallop of sticks breaking over mud, pounding into the earth, scarring it upon impact. There it is. The beautifully majestic, bloody creature that saved my life, nearing to take another's with something in its eyes that I didn't possess at that moment. Instinct. There were two of them. Could I save them both? Or was it too late to save even one of them? They hissed a violent tone from their throats, gurgling the blood as it burned and thickened to an oily resin. I have to try. My feet are stomping into the ground before I even realize that I was moving. I pry the wolf off of the first man of fire. My voice, resonating words that seem strangely familiar. 4. I wrap the verbal bounds around the wolf, entangling him in my grips. The wolf drops to the forest floor in a second, lowered on all fours with his jaw straight into the mud. His eyes glaze beautifully and are as different from each other in design as they are in color. He shows complete obedience. Don't come any closer, I urge the man. The man cocks his head with his jaw sitting slightly dislocated. Stay down, I can help you. Dirt flows from my hands like mist to smother the man from his hellfire. I also scrape my foot on some slightly damp soil in his direction while I struggle to remove my saturated linen jacket. With my jacket freed, I throw it like a blanket to suffocate the flames that extend from him like an aura. The forest is burning hotter behind him, filling smoke in every crevice of every tree and around every leaf. It chases outwards towards us faster than the flames. He keeps at me. The heat from the flames is unbearable. The stench of his burning flesh is all too familiar to me. I stumble backward, tripping over fallen debris on the forest floor, and render myself defenseless. He doesn't stop moving. Something came out of me at that moment that I would never have thought to be. I shower my foot right into the center of his face, sending him backward. Charred black and embers rise from where I impacted, like a burning log in fire. Then I see it. His face is extinguished from flames for a moment, and I see an empty embodiment of what used to be me. A human. His flesh is black and crisp. His eyes were burned and oozing blood, crying out like fountains. Half of his face is gone, littered with an image of death. He rises back to his feet. This time, I know. I unsheath my knife and stick it straight through his rock of a fucking skull. Now I'm pissed. A heroine courses through me, a feeling of pleasure mixed with emotion, but more pleasure, and I can't explain why. The hair stands like spikes on the neck of the wolf. A dominant growl rolls out of the wolf's nose and through his piercing teeth, angered with desire. His lips apart each other, his fangs shine white with stains of red. From frozen like a stone to fluidity like water, his swiftness. His motion invades his paradigm in an instant. His feet gallop in perfect serenity, pairing in fours like the trot of a horse. I hear the count of his feet. It's the only thing that I hear, thumping like an army of hearts. 1. The second man of fire rushes me. He's almost reached me. He extends his arms for me, hissing from his neck. A glass shard glistening from the flame sticks out his head. Everything is slow in the forest, like time stopped for us all. The flames, the smoke, the men of fire, everything. Except the wolf's galloping feet. 2. The fire reaches to me from the man, grazing his heart across my chest and face. I'm falling now and it's taking an eternity. 3. The wolf leaps from the earth and takes the second man of fire to the ground. He rakes his teeth deeply into his arm and shakes him, pulling his stubborn victim into the creek. The fire turns to smoke and rises from his torso and head. Fangs sink into his neck, and with a fierce rip his throat is ripped clean from his neck. The man is struggling and swinging his arms to grip the bloody beast, rising his head with red water pouring out where his trachea used to be, hissing. But that only lasts momentarily until the wolf severs his spine. Then there is no voice of life, only heavy pants and growls from the wolf and me.